Yeah. Hey, friends, welcome back to the library. Today I have with me Miss Geneva. I'm super excited to be talking about all things bookish with you. I really kind of wanted to ask you a lot about your journey through reading and how you got started with Bookstagram and Booktok.
Okay. Hello, hello. Um, okay, so which one? The Instagram or TikTok? Because
The TikTok, really.
okay, the TikTok. Well, that was by accident, really, to be honest. Um, I had joined a group on Facebook, and my that was my first video making of my doorbell, like the things being dropped off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then that one like went. It was like 2 million hits, and then I just started getting people. I was like,
Wow.
okay, so maybe I'll turn my TikTok into a book one. Um, so that's how it changed. I had just had my kids on there, just random things.
Mm,
And then I just switched it. Just that's how that one
That's
started.
crazy. Just random 2,000
Yeah,
or 2 million?
yeah. I still get like likes on that. I'm like, that is so crazy. That's over like almost 2 years.
That's crazy. What about your Bookstagram? Did it the same way or was it different?
No, that one was planned. I kind of wanted a place to where I would put my books that I would remember, like what I was feeling and what I was thinking about them. And I was always on Instagram scrolling Bookstagram just to find new books. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make one. And that's how that one started. I planned that one.
Do you have did you start with an aesthetic or did you find one later on?
I think I found one a little bit, but I feel like it's kind of still changing. Like when I
Yeah.
see, yeah, like I used to post like with my coffee first, and then it kind of changed. So I think I'm still trying to figure it out.
I tried Reels so much originally when because I've redone my Bookstagram grid since then, but when I originally got on, I tried to do Reels and it was so very hit or miss. And I feel like it's probably that way always, but for
Yeah,
me, it was like if it didn't have a shirtless dude on it, it wasn't going anywhere. And I'm like, this is not really, I mean, it's book related, but not really book related because you're only
yeah.
liking for the picture.
For the picture, yeah. I haven't. I did a little bit of reels, but I can't get into them because, like, I don't always get dressed.
Mm,
That's how
yeah.
that was part of my grid too. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a picture with the book, me and the book, and then it got to the point where I wasn't posting my reviews because I didn't want to get ready and take pictures. I just wanted to, take a picture of my book and that's it, or write about
Yeah.
it. So that's why I
Well, and
kind of changed it.
for me, it was like I read so much. Like I can be in the middle of like 10 to 12 books, but I don't always fit like when I go through a process of like I'm starting a whole bunch and then I'm in the middle and I just randomly pick them up and then I finish them all at the same time. So I never really have like there's a big gap
Oh
between
yeah,
when my reviews are ready and when they're not. And I'm like,
and
I
they're
don't
not.
ever have content. The
Oh my.
content is forever evolving. So do
Oh
you
yeah.
like Bookstagram and BookTok better than like a Facebook group or do you have a preference?
I guess for different times. If I'm listening to an audiobook and I'm like done, like, cleaning or whatever, I'll sit and scroll Instagram. And that's the
Yeah.
time that I'm on Instagram and liking stuff. And then I do also go into Facebook, but sometimes I have to have my ears for Facebook because I see the videos and all that stuff. But usually when I'm in an audiobook, listening to one, I'm on Instagram. And then TikTok is usually like I'm scrolling like at night or in the morning. So it's like all day.
Yeah, you have different times. I think
Yeah.
TikTok, I feel like that's kind of everyone. Like they started putting the little, you've been watching for a while. Should you maybe
Oh my
get something
gosh,
to eat or
yes.
a drink or should go to sleep? And I was like, you're coming for me.
Yeah, it's like, how long have I been doing this?
I'm like, is that automated or
Yeah.
how long do you have to be on here to get that? That's crazy. No. Um, Tell me a little bit about like what you keep on your shelves, what you like to read. Do you generally like gravitate towards one genre?
No, I think I'm definitely a mood reader. So I have like romance, dark romance, um, clean romance, and then I don't really do a lot of YA, but I have some just,
Mhm.
I think whenever I finish like a really dark romance book, like it's so much that I have to look for a book that has nothing, like just sweet.
Yeah.
Like that was too much. I need a
Yes.
break.
I feel like
And then I do, oh yeah.
there are those like the Nicholas Sparks where it's like really clean and kind of closed door, and it's
Yes.
like those are where I'm going. You
Yes,
need a
I
palate
need,
cleanser.
I do. I do a lot of thrillers also, so
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm
See,
definitely a mood reader.
I don't know that I've always had troubles getting into thrillers. Like, I don't know if it's just there's a little bit of fear involved for me,
Hmm.
just because I've never been a fan of that, but I love Halloween, just not the scary part of it.
That
Like,
doesn't,
I'm the cute pumpkins and the wreaths and the gourds and yeah. None of the scary stuff. The
no.
scary stuff, no thanks. But yeah, I think that's why I can't get into thrillers though. Like,
Oh no.
for me, there's that element of, like, fear, surprise, and I'm like, I'm good." The few
Uh,
that I've read that were similar, that aren't, like, cozy mystery, was the Where the Crawdads Sing and the other one, A Flicker in the Dark.
Oh yeah,
Both of
those are
those,
good.
I managed through those, and they were really good, but it took me a while. Like, when I typically I can start and end pretty fast, but, like, I'm starting 10 within the same week, and then a week later, like, on the 3rd week, I'm finishing them. So, usually it takes me about 3 weeks to get through 10, 15 books, but then, like, for those, it took me, like, 2 or 3 months
Oh
to
wow.
finish
I
because I
feel
would,
like,
like, read a little bit and then stop. There was another one that I got from Kelly, um, and it's called Baby Teeth, and it was one of those, like, psychological twisting, and I was like, "I can't, like, they're crazy. I have to put it down." I would go read, like, 50 pages and then put it down for a week
oh
and
my,
just
no, those
kind
are
of
the
look
ones
at
that I
it.
can read faster. I think it's just because like my
Mm.
heart's pounding and I'm like scared and I just want to, I want to know what's happening.
See, I thought that I would like them like that, but I prefer, like, those are my trash TV shows. Like, those are so I'm like, I can't ever get into the book, but I
Oh
can
yeah.
watch the shows. The shows I can binge.
Really, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I can read it, but don't put me in front of like a scary TV like show or movie and then especially not by myself.
See, like, I like horror actual horror movies, I can't do those, but, like, if I'm
No.
watching Criminal Minds or First 48 or NCIS or there's, like, a little bit of thriller, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of, like, psychosis, psychological
Yeah.
twists and things going on, I'm all for it. As long as
Uh
it's just like a Scream movie. I can't
no.
or It. No, I
No,
am not a clown person.
I am not either.
No thanks. I'm good,
No.
I'm good.
I don't
Yeah,
read horror at all because that's just too much for me.
yeah. The horror thing is not, mm, but dark romance.
Oh, yeah, give me all the dark
But dark
romance.
romance. But dark romance. I'm like, "Yes, please. Thank you. Sign me up."
See, I have some dark romance, and then I have my dark romance that's like my trashy dark romance that I love, but it's not like what I advertise because because it's too trashy.
I'm like, I was about to ask you, you filter, like, your percentage of what you read versus what you post.
Uh, yeah, pretty much. I because sometimes, to be honest, I forget. I read, let's say I'm reading 3 books, and then I'll post about one, and then I go back. I'm like, oh crap, I never posted that one. So, I mean, I try and do it, but on Goodreads, it gets posted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, for me, I'm like, I can't decide which tracking apps I like to use because Goodreads is automatic whenever you're reading through your Kindle, and I
Hmm.
can burn through some Kindle books really fast because it's really lightweight, it doesn't hurt, I can go in
Move
different
anywhere.
side, back, yeah, I can kind of lay down and it's not a big deal, I read in bed, that's my favorite thing to do. Um, but physicals, like, I forget to update them. So, like, I
Yeah.
love Bookmorty because there's the calendar and you can kind of, like, see the cover of when you read it, and, like, Storygraph was great because it gave me, like, your average time reading these kinds of books means you're this emotional
Yeah.
person, kind of it gave you that data, but I'm like, Goodreads is just It's so quick.
It is.
It
That's
updates,
why I
I don't
use
have to
it.
keep up with it, yeah.
That's why I use it because it's just quick. It does it by itself. If I'm reading, I tried Storygraph, which I like, but it was like when you finish a book, it was like filling out a whole essay to mark it finished. So I was like, no. So I stopped using that one. But the other one with the calendar, what is it called?
Bookmory?
Okay, I'm gonna try that one.
Yeah, it's Bookmory, and, it's really cute. I don't hardly ever do this, but I'm going to flip my camera not flip my camera, show you my phone because it's really freaking cute.
I've seen people post it, but I didn't know. I thought they like edited it their own calendar, but I didn't know it was an app.
So
I'm
mine
gonna
looks
try
a
that.
little funky because I have multiple books sitting there, but,
Oh, I
it's just a
see.
little calendar,
Yeah.
and you can flip back through your month. So this is my
See, that's cute.
January.
And
Yes,
when you
it's real
end it,
cute.
it stops the book there.
Yeah, it stops the book there, and, like, in Goodreads, it's a little bit harder to find, like, if you forget to click start reading on the day you did it, you have to, like, maneuver inside the book itself to get the, date to change, like, you have to mark it as read and then exit and come back in a different way to
Yeah.
change the actual date. Bookmori, it gives you everything right there, so you can hit reading or to read, reading, read, and then, like, if you read it a couple days ago, like it was a day read, if you go in to put it the few days later, when you click on your date, you can backdate it and it counts for that year. Like, I've tried to do
Oh,
that in Goodreads and it didn't count
it
towards my
don't.
year goal.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
really liked that because then it also goes and puts it in the calendar, but it counts it as part of your year goal. In Goodreads, I'm just like, yeah, it's red.
it's right.
It's red. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
that's
looks
really
cute.
I loved seeing all this stuff on Instagram about it, and so I had to figure it out. I want one of those scanners, though.
Oh, me
I have
too.
the app for it. I have found an app called Library Thing that does the same thing. You can scan it from your phone, but I want the actual
The skin.
barcode scanner. I'm like, "This
See,
is special for me," but
I'm gonna try that book more because I think the last time I did like a one screen with everything I read, but I had to add the covers, the monthly wrap ups.
yes.
I haven't done one since I think the last one I did was in November. So I
Mm,
didn't do December or January. I just kind of gave up because it's so much work to
yeah.
add 12, 13, 14 books. But I think that Book Mori one would be easier because it's already there.
Mhm. Yep,
I'm
and I
definitely gonna
think
try it.
I think there's a way to download it or maybe even screenshot may be where it's at, but, yeah, I found it and I was like, "This is crazy," and it's the easiest way for me to update because, like, I could go in and like, I wanted part of me is very much like I want a physical one that I can write in and, like,
Yeah.
print off the little but then I'm like, "That takes so much time,"
Oh yeah.
and I know that I'll tell myself I'm gonna do it, and then I don't.
I don't. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
how when I first started, I wasn't. Well, when I grew up, I wasn't a reader. So
Mm,
when I started reading, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this book journal, and then I bought a little printer that made the little pictures, and I think I have maybe like 10 pictures of books, and then I just quit because I was reading too much to keep up with it.
mhm,
So that's why I switched to Goodreads.
yeah. I have a friend, which what we're gonna acquaintance my boss, but she reads and she keeps a physical book journal and she take like I don't know if she still does, but when she did it last year, she read over 350 books in a year, but she was like each month it was like a regular planner that was just months, like a dated month,
Mhm.
and she would go in with washi tape and like tape over the edges of the month and make it look really pretty, and all of it was themed color-wise, and it was so cute, and she would go in and print off, like, the covers of each of the books, and she would, like, put them on, I think, the dates that she finished the book, and I was like, "I read too many novellas in one day to do that,"
Right?
like, I was like, "They would be tiny," but it was really, like, pleasing to the eye, and I wanted to try something like that, but I was like, "I already know it's gonna be that exact same, like, I just read I mean, I don't know how she kept up with it. She's very, like, task oriented, so she managed it, but I was like, for me, I'm so, like, ADHD, I would just task switch so quickly.
Oh yeah. I like watching those videos of people filling out those things though.
I told her she needed to do some ASMR because
Yes.
between
I
the
watch that all day.
taping between the taping and then, like, actually going in and filling out the journals, she really could have, like, been TikTok famous.
Oh yeah. I'd be watching that.
Mhm. Yeah. No, are you going to any, like, reader conventions this year?
No, I wanted to, but I don't know. Are you?
I am. I'm going to Readers Take Dinner. I'm really
Oh
excited.
my God, that's so exciting. I
Yes.
love watching everybody's videos whenever they go.
Yes. Those videos, I was that's why I brought it up because I was like, those videos are, like, right there with the ASMR. Like, the
Yes.
so pleasing to watch. There's a, like, support group for people that are going, and they're like, "Oh, you need to take a whole extra suitcase, and you'll still be shipping books home," and I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh my God.
I was like, "That's so much." I had to think about it, but they were like, "Oh, you need a, one of the largest you can get suitcases so that you can put, like, your cart in it, and then, like, the cart is essential." It's like a rolly cart,
Yeah, I've seen
like what
those.
teachers used to have in the yeah. Um, they're like, "You'll want one of these with the lid so that you can sit or, like, prop yourself up, and make sure you bring your snacks." Like, it's a whole thing
Oh
for Readers
man.
Take Denver. Like, you're and I'm like, "We can't possibly be." And I looked at the itinerary, it was like, we're not even in line more than 8 hours at a time, and they're not even really lines. Like, the way that they've explained it works, like, you're maybe in line for one author for, like, 20 or 30 minutes because they have them moving in, like, a virtual queue
Hmm.
through, like, I think WhatsApp on your phone, and
Oh,
I was like, "If we're not really it like, why do I need." You can really easily like, they're so attached to, like, we're going and we have to be in the convention center the whole time, and I'm like, "We're gonna be in Denver. Do you know how many things you can go do in Denver? Like, you don't have to be attached to the actual." But I
that.
saw, Angie went to, I think, Love in Las Vegas, and it was on
Hmm.
her story, and I was like, that really solidified going for me because I was like, "That looks like so much fun."
Oh, it does. It does. Are you going by yourself?
I am going by myself.
Oh,
I'm a
that's
little
exciting.
nervous.
Yeah, that's nervously exciting. Who are you most excited to see there? Like what
Um,
author?
I think it's probably Jennifer Hartman or Katharina Mora.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes. Jennifer Hartman was kind of my real introduction into dark romance with Still
It's
Beating.
still beating. Ugh, I loved it.
Yes. And, Katharina Mora was my introduction into Mafia. So it
Right.
really yeah. It really for me, it was, like, kind of one of those. I mean, there are others there,
Yeah.
obviously, because, like, Liz Tomford, Chantel is going, Rebecca Yarros is gonna be there. I'm not even gonna attempt Rebecca Yarros's
No.
line. I was like, "I don't need signs that bad." But yeah, trying to gather all this stuff for it was just, like, mind-boggling, and then they've started doing, the Swiftie thing with bracelets
Hmm.
for that, and so I was like, "Well, I wanna make bracelets," but some people have, like, sensitivity, like,
Yeah.
to what they can wear, what they're comfortable wearing, um, sensory issues or not issues, but just specialities, and so I was like, "Maybe I can do something else for those people." So not only am I making bracelets, but I've been making stickers and making bookmarks, and I made a keychain. And so I
Oh
was like,
wow.
"I'm maybe going a
You've been
little
busy.
overboard," but it's one of those, like, I'm so excited, and I made enough. I'm, like, making some for that have the podcast theme and then some for the multiple book groups that I'm in, and just trying to like, it's one of those I can make friends while I'm there, and you know as well as I do, like, bookish friends in the community are really
Oh
where it's
yeah.
at. It's
Yes.
so nice to actually be able to sit down and have a conversation with someone about a book, like, for example, the Jennifer Hartman, you knew exactly what I was talking about, and I
Yes,
said still beating because it was like one of those, we have this connection, we know what happened.
we went through the
Yeah,
same trauma.
for real. That trauma is there. Tell me about, some of your other favorite dark romance.
I like KG Roos. Have you ever read her?
I have not.
My favorite one, it's right here. Church.
Okay.
It's I'm going through her whole backlist, but I think she's my favorite because when I first read it, um, I I actually read it on my Kindle first, and I wasn't new to Kindle. I was always like on paper, paperback. And then my husband got me a Kindle, and that was the first book I read on it, and I read it so quick. I was like, wait, this is like super changing. I was like, is it the dark romance or is it the Kindle?
Right.
But I think it was both. And when I bought the book, I was like, I can't believe it was this big. And it didn't feel like that in the Kindle.
Yeah.
That's why I loved it. But I'm going through her whole backlist, but it's like my dark romance, like guilty pleasure of her
Mm,
because she
yeah.
writes some raunchy stuff.
Yeah. The raunchy is where it's at. I have, um, well, one of my authors, I don't even know if she's writing anymore, but she was an indie that I worked hand in hand with. Her name, her pen name was Seven or Seven Hex for a little while, and um, she wrote semi mafia duet. It's called the Ace of Hearts. The first one's called Mine, and the second one's called Yours. And it's my guilty pleasure. Like I will go back and reread it and like just thumb through the book every once in a while. But if it's one of those, I don't even know if she's even writing anymore because she's like disappeared from social media.
Oh wow.
But my other one is probably HD. And a lot of people say that, but the cat and mouse duet for me changed a lot of my brain chemistry.
I haven't read those. I'm
It's
scared. I have them right there, but I'm scared to read them.
so good. So good. There's
Yeah.
so many in here. Like
And
I
I'm
told
looking
somebody,
around. I like Emily McIntyre. I
mhm,
like her books.
those were
They're a little
good.
dark. Yeah.
I
But
loved she had a strong, like, she didn't portray her female main character as, like, weak females,
yes,
like, they were
yes,
very strong and independent.
yeah. I really like that about it too. Um, who else is up there? Katie Roberts on the
Dark
Young Gods.
Olympus?
Yes, I loved it. I
I
have actually, I haven't finished it. I'm on one, two, I've only read the first three books.
so I started number 5 in an audio, and then I, of course, was on Libby, so I had to return it because I had to be off for a couple weeks, but, um, being at home and trying to talk to the husband and all the things, but
Hmm.
I, like I audioed
The audios are
the
really good too.
connection that I'm just like, my heart.
Yes.
Mm.
Book book number three, Wicked. What is it
Wicked
called?
is it Wicked Beauty?
Wicked Beauty. Yeah, it's right there.
That's
Oh my God. That
that's the one with, that's the Aries tournament, right?
yes, yes. So you remember the trauma.
That one. Oh my gosh, it was like so much. I You've seen action in those in the first 2,
Yeah.
but you don't really see action until the 3rd one, and
Um,
then you get it all at once, and you're like,
whoa. Yes.
"2?" I'm a wide shoes girly, so I'm like, "Yeah,
Me too. I
don't
think
make a choice."
that's why I liked that church one because I think
Oh,
it was like a little bit of everything for me. It was like my first dark romance, my first white shoes. It was really good.
yeah. The white shoes hockey are
I haven't read it.
nice.
No? Okay, I need to read one. Which one do you
Yes.
recommend?
I liked I started with the second one, and this Lauren Blakely writes really good. There's only 2, so it's really a trio, but it's still why choose 'cause she doesn't
Hmm.
really make a choice. There's this one, and two more. They're really good.
Okay,
And
I need to
it
go.
also has a like part of the books are about like coming out and being public
Uh-huh.
as a trio and how you have to navigate that publicity when you're in a position like a national, like their National Hockey League in the book, but I feel like it also speaks to like trying to normalize that like it's okay to not have just like everyone's perception of relationship is differently. So like it's almost trying to normalize poly, which a lot of people are going to disagree with, but if we're okay with it in a book, why are we
Yeah,
it's my
exactly.
opinion, like why are you judging?
Yeah,
Mind your business.
it's fun.
Right. Mind your business. But no, yeah. I've had a thing for I feel like I dabble everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, like like sports romance,
I
dark
want to read a
romance,
hockey.
fantasy. I
I'm
loved
not
ACOTAR.
me. I read it, but I'm not a want to say fantasy girly because
Mhm.
really that's really the only one. Oh, and Fourth Wing. But I want to get into it more because it really
Mm.
builds the world and it's so fun.
So, Kingdom of the Wicked was really good.
Oh
I
yes, I
enjoyed
read the
it.
first one.
I haven't read the whole series, but Once Upon a Broken Heart, I read it and it was really good. Now, I read just the first one, and then I started seeing all over Facebook that you were supposed to read the Caraval series first
Oh
because they're in the same world. So I haven't read the second or third ones, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to read the Caraval first or not. Because most people say if you liked the Once Upon a Broken Heart, you won't like the Caraval and vice versa. And I'm like, but if
yeah.
they're connected, why would you not?
Hmm.
It doesn't make sense to me. Um, I really like the witchy ones too. I have the first book of the Kingsley Witch series by Saoirse Dawn.
Oh yeah, I haven't read that one either.
It's Shadowbound. I like those. I have
Yeah.
also read there's an indie author in Owens and she writes witchy paranormal with demons and hellhounds
Oh
and
wow.
called the Chaos Kings Queen series. One of those. There's two of them. There's two of them
Oh
right now. Yeah, and it's a why choose.
okay, I need to
It's
read that one.
it's one female and six males.
Oh my gosh, that's like the Tangled in Tinsel. Oh no, the other one had five mouths.
Yeah. The Tangled in Tinsel, have you heard about all the controversy with what happened and that author?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so apparently the author made a comment on someone's social media, on another author's social media page about how it was like an underhanded comment about taking someone's idea, essentially like claiming another author got her idea for her book, like stole it from the author of Tangled and Tinsel. She was like,
Oh
"You,
wow.
um, something about I wonder where you got the idea for this from," or along those lines
Uh-huh.
type of
Yeah.
comment. And I was like, "Do you know how many retellings there are of like Beauty and the Beast or Hades and Persephone
Hades,
or
yes.
yeah, like why you can't possibly own that? Like that's not how that
No,
works."
like the trope. No, there's so many.
Yeah, that one, I was like, "Okay." Like, I'm not and for me, it was like, I'm not gonna not read that book just because that happened, but at the same time, it was just, like, the audacity that people have gotten to in the reader world where, like, authors I saw this on my threads earlier, authors are now like, there are some authors that have gotten so, like, entitled to reviews and things that if it's not, like, 4.5 stars or more, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have it taken down by Goodreads," and I'm like,
I saw that. Yeah.
are you serious?
See, that's what they say about Frida. A lot of her
Mhm.
books. I like her. but they were saying about the housemaid and Liv Constantine, the Last Mrs. Parrish, that they're like super similar. But I actually read the Last Mrs. Parrish first, and then I think like a few months later I read the housemaid whenever it was like super viral, and I didn't see them being super like identical to where I wouldn't want to read,
Yeah.
one or the other. I mean, one is better than the other, but still, that's my opinion.
Right, yeah. That's just like, there is another indie that wrote a similar book to Still Beating. Her name's Lauren Beale, and it's the same idea, but Lawrence is a little more darker and depraved. Like, when I think of, like, what's the darkest book I've ever read, it's, like, Captured by Lauren Beale and then Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. Like, those are the 2 that I would
Yeah.
say are probably the darkest that I've ever gotten, and there's some really sick and twisted things happening in those books.
Yes, there is.
Like, I like Heartless Heathens by Santana Knox. I like, Haunting and Hunting by H.D. Carlton. Those are some twisted stories. But
But I
no.
feel like they're all different in their own way, and
Mhm.
I will read if I will read anything. I'll give every out there a shot.
Yeah. I'm kinda the same way. Like, it doesn't matter because I wanna see your take, and I may
Yeah,
prefer your writing style over someone else's.
exactly. Yes.
That has a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, how quickly you can grab me into the story.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you said you got into reading a little bit later? You just
I
weren't a
did.
reading kid, or was it
No.
one specific book?
I think, yeah, I wasn't a big reader when I was growing up. Um, I would read here and there. Like I have a box from like high school,
Mhm,
but it was like only 5 books. And like, it wasn't like much. And then I want to say in 2020 or 2021, I was scrolling TikTok and I saw somebody about a book. And I remember telling my cousin, hey, do you want to read this with me? Like try and start my own book club. And she's like, yeah. So we ordered it, and it starts with us by Coho,
mhm.
and no, it ends with us. Yeah, it ends with this, and that one kind of got the ball rolling.
Yeah,
And then
that's
from
great.
there, and I was like, wait, I actually like this. I like reading.
Yeah. I have there are some people that are like, audiobooks are not reading. Do you use all forms, like audio, physical, or do you have a preference?
Oh no, I do them all. Why
Sure.
choose? Why choose on books?
Why choose?
Yeah,
Yes, yes. Yeah,
I like
that's
to read
funny.
them. I mainly do a lot of audio and a lot of Kindle now.
Mhm.
And the physical. Well, I guess I do them all.
I feel
One of
like
each though. I will read 3 books at a time.
yeah. I I feel like I have the physical to read them more often, but I typically end up doing audio or Kindle the most. One, because I have to drive an hour one way to my day job. So that's a lot of time to be listening if I'm not
Yeah,
on the phone with someone. And then the Kindle is like I'm taking thousands of books with me wherever I go somewhere. So if I get towards the end of one, I'm not carrying 2 books in a bag and like breaking my shoulder or my back.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I like the book. If I have the book, and if it's on Kindle Unlimited, I will download it on my Kindle just so I can read it faster. I feel like I read it faster. And like I like my trophies though. Like I want them all.
Yeah, if anyone is likely to be a serial killer, it's readers because we're like, I have my trophy shelf.
Yes,
I'm like, okay, maybe we should be a little concerned for our minds that some of us read some
right?
really dark and twisted stuff, and then we also want to have our trophy shelf. Like, that's a
Yes.
little concerning.
Yes. That's what I had the when I read the Mind F series.
Mhm.
I read it on Kindle. I bought the paperback, and then I loved it so much that I ended up buying the special edition. I was like, okay, see, I have a problem.
See, I didn't get the first edition of the, Fourth Wing, but I had an edition painted for me, the second edition painted, so it's technically an original, and I have 2 first editions of Iron Flame, and I'm like, I
Jeez.
wanna have one done to match the one Iron Flame, not Fourth Wing, that I have
Uh-huh.
that's original, but I'm like, "It's a first edition, and I don't wanna
Yeah.
damage it." So now I'm torn, I'm like, "Mm."
Oh man. See, that's what I on my fourth wing, I listened to it and then I got the book, so I was reading it after, but that one I tabbed it and then I seen people doing the spray, but I didn't want to send it in because it has all my tabs and it looks so cute, but I don't want to
Mhm.
have to buy another book now.
Yeah. I've seen so many special editions go for so much money.
Yes, it's
So much
insane.
money. And, like, I get it, like, if it's a one-off, like, they'll never do first edition prints again with the sprayed edges or with printed edges because there are some authors that do prints instead of actual sprays. But, like, doing it yourself, there's an odd fascination you have of knowing that, like, there are very few, because like, with first editions, there's a couple 100,000 printed, like,
Yeah,
if not more. So, like, yeah, it's a first edition, but if I know that I got, like, someone else to spray my edges, like, paint them, there's maybe only, like, a couple 100
right? Yeah.
or maybe 1. Because I had someone do a specific design on a certain color. So, like, there's only 1 of this book.
Oh yeah.
Now, if I
See,
were to
but
sell I wouldn't sell it, though.
no, I don't think I'd read it either. I'd read it in a different format.
Yep. No, I'll read one of the Iron Flames because I wanna tab one, like, I
Uh-huh.
have Fourth Wing tabbed, but I'm like, "It's a first edition."
Not that one. You have
I
to get
get it,
another one out.
I get it. Not a 3rd copy?
Not
There
me
I feel
enabling you.
right? I feel like we're all like that, like, "You go, sis." We're just enabling each other, like,
Do
"Buy as
it.
many as you want." No, there my friend, she whenever Iron Flame was coming out, she was one of the ones that had multiple pre-orders between Amazon, Walmart, Target, Barnes& and Noble, Books A Million,
Wow.
and then still went physically on that morning to Target and got a couple copies,
Oh wow.
and then ordered the German copy, and I'm like, "Why do you need so many like,
You
the
can't even
majority of
read
them are
German.
the same." Right. Well, I mean, I get the cover's pretty, like,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
different, but I was, like, sitting there thinking, like, "You have 8 copies of the English printed one, so, like, it's the same. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have a different cover, and what are you gonna do with them?
Yep. They're gonna
You're just gonna
sit
have
there and
all
look
8
pretty.
sitting on your yeah, all 8 sitting on your shelf, like, w I get having different covers of them, but if the same cover,
That's
like, are you
yeah.
just trying to hit your 1,000 goals so you have an actual library?
Do
Like,
you have a library?
I don't.
Oh, me neither.
I'm at 300 and
Me too.
something right now, but if we were counting what's on the Kindle, then yes, I have a library.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure, I have a yes, I
Me
do
too.
have a small there's, like, 1,700 sitting unread on my Kindle.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot.
Yeah, and then I have 2, Barnes& and Noble makes a Nook, and I have 2 Nooks. One is no longer operational, and the other is semi-operational, it just won't update, but both of those have between the 2 of those, there's an additional, like, 25 books on there from when I was
Oh my
younger.
gosh. See, you have a library, digital library.
So, yeah, I have a digital library. We're working on the physical, but I also have a good 25 over in a bag somewhere that I'm gonna donate because I'm very much like, I can put more shelves in this room and I can rearrange this room to hold probably 4 or 5 more shelves, but I'm also gonna be stingy with what I put on the shelves because there
Yeah.
are millions of books. And at
Yeah.
some point, like, I have to really kind of sit here and think, like, what do I want to keep in my personal library?
What you
Because if
actually love.
something yeah, yeah. Because well, if something happen I don't have a massive house. I currently don't have children, so I have a whole bedroom, but if I did end up having children or, if something happened to us and we had to unfortunately move out of this house, I don't know what I'd do with all these.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what I do. The 300 is a lot anyways, and there are some people who are like, I have just under so and so, but I feel like if the shelves started to leave the room, my husband would be like, "All right,
But
look, you have a whole room. Stop." And I'd be like, "But there's shelves can fit in the living room and in the
it
dining
looks so
area, and
pretty.
then we have decorations around the house, like extra
Yeah.
decorations." So he's like, "You're
Oh
a
my.
hoarder."
I think we are. I think we are. I tried to unhaul. I actually did unhaul because my sister-in-law was like, "Hey, I want to get into reading. Can give me some books?" And it was so hard for me. I was like,
Mm,
"Oh my gosh, what do I give her? Do I give her books I've read or books I haven't read?" So I ended up giving her some books that I've read,
mhm.
but I went and repurchased them. The ones I wanted to keep. Oh my gosh.
That's funny. I I have like this 50-50 of like when I'm getting ready to unhaul because I'm like, how because I recently traded my Twisted series for some books I haven't read for authors that I like more. And it's not that I didn't enjoy the Twisted series because I did, but I was like, I have read so many other series that bring me more joy
Right.
from this one. Um that would be better suited on my because I'm probably not going to reread that series. Like, I
Yeah.
loved it. I did. It was a great series. It was beautifully written, but, um, Katharina Mora's series between The Temporary Wife, The Wrong Bride, and the few couple others that she has, those bring me more joy. I would more than likely reread those more
And
than I would anything else. Yeah.
see, I have those over there, but I haven't read them. They're like by my bed just because they're so pretty, but
Mhm.
I haven't read them. I need to.
Yeah, the covers are amazing.
Yes,
I
yes.
love when they do that too.
See, I can't
I'm like
unhaul like my Coho books just because she's the one who brought me into, the
Mhm.
book world. I won't reread them, but they're just gonna sit there. They
Yeah.
look pretty.
I have, um I try to I wanna say I try to keep more indies in my print library than I do anything else,
Oh yeah.
um, but there's also the peer pressure of, "Oh, this, like, Liz Ford or Jennifer Hartman or SJM, like, they've releasing a new book," and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta have it."
Yeah.
So, I'm, like, a big spokesperson for trying to read indie. But then I also have to remember, like, they don't have a publishing deal, so they don't the toss-up is, like, they don't have, a price point at the same. Like,
Right.
indie authors, their prints, like, they don't 1, like, H.D. Carlton is technically an indie author, she doesn't have a publishing deal, and there are some people who won't, but they have such a following as an indie that they can price point theirs the same as if they did have a publishing.
Right.
Whereas there are some like Lauren Beale or others, like not her specifically, her stuff is not super expensive, but there are others that they have to price point them even through Amazon at like 20 plus dollars
Yeah, I
for
noticed
a
that.
300-page book that would normally be like 10
Hmm.
um, a couple months after publishing. So it's kind of one of those like, I wanna keep indies in but I have to, like, win them,
Right?
and then
Yeah.
and then I'm like, the chances of doing that are so slim. Like,
I'll buy them on
saving my
Kindle
pennies.
or if they're on there.
Yeah, I was saving my pennies for it. That's crazy. If you had if you had one specific book that's, like, your always wreck book, or, like, "I'm never gonna wreck this book," like, just a straight no, what are those 2?
Oh, okay. Am I gonna always wreck? Let's see. I want to say, and this is a recent one for me. I haven't even done a review on it. The 7 Year Slip. That's how much I think
Mm,
I loved it. And it was so good to me. Yeah, the 7 Year Slip by, I cannot remember her name. Ashley something, I
mhm,
think. But that one was so good. I would recommend it to anybody. Like if you like fantasy, if you like romance, I think it's a little bit of everything, a little bit of mystery. Not really a mystery, but
mm.
like those things. And what I would never recommend, I don't know. Uh, I did. Well, this was a preference though. Like the new Frida McFadden book, The Teacher.
Mm.
I don't think I'll recommend that one just
Is
because
it
of
just
the the child and adult relationship in there, which I was like, nope. It's a good book if it didn't have the ending it had. So I don't think I'd ever recommend it.
yeah.
I want other people to
There
read it just so I can pick their brain, but
yeah.
I won't be like, hey, read it.
There are always those where I'm like, "Okay, I need to pick your brain on this one," especially Fourth Wing, because I waited to read it a couple months after it got released, and I was like, the peer pressure to read it because
Yes.
it's so popular, and I'm trying to, like, read at my own pace, but then I got in there, started reading it, and I texted one of my friends, I was like, "Please tell me you read this," and I just don't know because I need to talk. So, for anyone who hasn't read it, one of the dragons is extremely sassy.
Yes.
One of the dragon characters is extremely sassy, and it's like this older brother sassy type situation, and I love it so much. Like,
Me too.
ever he had his own tab. He had his own
Taryn,
tab for the yes! I was like, "I just need to when the sassy comes," and it's like, "You're making us look bad."
it's so funny. Oh,
Oh my gosh, yes. Do you like, other than that you said you tabbed that one, do you tab other books as well, or is it just, like, certain ones that you know
I
you've
do.
liked
Well, I if I'm reading them like a paperback or a hardcover, I will try and tab it just so
for
I
all of
can
them?
see, because even in my Kindle I highlight, so I try and tab them. But if I'm not really into it, I won't
Yeah.
even. Yeah. And the other one, oh, I read it recently. Part of Your World. Have you read it
Mm-mm.
by Abby Jimenez?
I've heard about it.
It's really good. I like that one. Has a bunch of tabs.
Yeah. I feel like I there's this weird for me, it was like I didn't know if I wanted to start tabbing the books that I'm reading now because I was forced to annotate and, like, essentially tab in high school, and I'm 23, so I've only been out of high school for 5 or 6 years, and it was still close enough to where it was like, this is how do I transition from tabbing looking for specific things like a simile or a metaphor or,
Hmm.
something like that to just tabbing, like, what do I
For
feel
fun.
like yeah. For me, because it was, like, one of those self questions of, like, what do I feel like is worth marking my book for? Because I
Yeah.
used to be the kind where, like, I'm not marking in the book. Like, I'll stick the sticker in there, but I didn't want to write in it because it was cringy for me, like, it made me really uncomfortable.
Oh wow. I
And now
barely
I'm just
started
like,
writing.
I'm anything.
What the F?
Yeah, I'm
What are
like,
you thinking?
and I put little eyes in here like, "Sir? Ma'am? Like, what are we looking at?"
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
now I tab, I feel like anything that makes me feel anything. Like if it
Mm,
makes me smile, if it makes me angry, if it makes me question. what they're doing, I will tab it. I will put what I'm thinking,
Yes.
and I feel
Yes.
like it gives the book so much like character. Just looking at it,
Mhm.
it's like loved.
Yes. Okay, so this one, we did the traveling book where we had our friends annotate in the book, and I loved this. This is not mine. This one's Angie's, but I
I
loved
know
being able to see everybody else's comments. So for me, it really solidified like, yeah, you like to go in and annotate and
it
tab
does.
everything because then
Yeah.
getting to see that like where we all had different feelings and emotions and it was like we're subtly having a conversation but not really. I didn't feel
Right.
like I was required to go in and be like, "Oh, this and this and this" in a chat somewhere.
Mhm.
Because as much as I love buddy reading and being part of a book club that requires you to actually say something to people, and I'm just like,
I know I
maybe
get
not.
shy. Like I'm in the book clubs, but it's so scary because sometimes I read at night and I don't want to send a message at like it's like 11 my time. It can be 2 in the morning somebody else's time. So
Yep.
it's always scary to like message on there about whatever I'm reading at the moment.
Yes. So I told somebody else this because I like to buddy read, and I'm one of the ones that my phone goes on do not disturb at night. So you can literally text me at any time, and I'm not going to get the notification until the morning. It's aside from certain people, like, you have your exceptions when you have do not disturb on an iPhone. You can go in and like this person can call or can call
Yeah.
this many times and it'll let you through. But if you are using Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger, when you do your buddy reads, you can send your messages as a present
Oh
to where it
yeah.
has a cover on it and you just click on it when you're ready to open it. And so my Angie and I were looking at it because somebody was going back and forth showing us their buddy read, and it was like in regular print that was sent as a regular message. It says like chapter 6, and then a present message is sent after so that you could go in and like open their thoughts
Yeah.
when you were ready. And I was
I
like, that
love
is
that.
so neat. I love that
Yeah.
because it's a really easy way. Excuse me. It's a really easy way to like protect someone from spoilers
Mhm.
because like I'm also in discords. Like I'm through every portion of like social media that you could do for the book
Mhm.
community. So like I have the Instagram, I have the Threads, I have the TikTok, I have the Twitter, which Twitter is like not
No, I'm not
really
on there either.
there, but that's just because Twitter is wilding all the time. But then I'm TikTok, Booktok, and then I'm in the Discord chats as well as the Facebook groups and I have a Facebook blog page. So I have my foot in a little
Everything.
bit of everything. But for, Discord, it's really easy to go in and, like, put bars on either side of the message, and it grays it out.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was like, some people aren't familiar with Discord and how it
Mhm.
works and how to get on there, how to set up a server. Like, I can get it in there and I can use the different rooms because it's basically like one massive chat room that has different, like, channels.
Mhm.
So, I can go in there and I can add myself and like you can assign roles and you have like AI bots to manage things. And I'm like, I wouldn't be able to build it, but if I join the server, I
Join.
can get in and go. Like I'm in the different chat rooms, I'm reading stuff, I'm responding, I'm sending messages with the bars around them and like covering spoilers and stuff. But for some people that aren't tech savvy and they use Messenger a lot, they could go in and do those and do the buddy read with someone and still be able to manage essentially the same thing. And
Oh
I told her,
yeah.
I was like, just the things that they come up with, um, because, like, now Messenger, like, you can do, like, a thumbs down, and it'll have, like, a little thumbs down on the screen, or you can do, like, a little heart, and it'll hearts over everywhere, and I'm like, "This is crazy." Like, I did this one day on it, and it was, like, I think exclamation points or stars or something on the screen, and I was like,
Whoa.
"Um, what happened?" I'm like, "If
Let
I
me
could
do it
get those
again.
reactions in real life right, and then you try to do it again, and it never happens.
Mhm.
But,
Is that the
no, yeah,
same thing as like Fable, the app, the Discord? Is it the same?
um that's the
I haven't
only
tried
thing
it.
that I'm not super familiar with. I know that there's, like, a chat room and it's, like, a guided, um essentially a guided book club where you can, like, go in and put your chats in, and it depends on how you have it broken up. I'm gonna attempt to try to set up a Fable book club so that I can try it and try to figure out how
Yeah.
it works. That and NetGalley are the only things that I'm not familiar with. So, like, I have my foot in all the social medias, but some of the apps, I'm like, I just
You're
can't.
gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you?
I just joined a book club that starts in March, but they're gonna do it on Fable. I'm like, wait, I don't know about it, so maybe I need to do it already so I can maneuver it first.
Yeah, I've tried it in the past, but the book club never started. Like, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do it through Fable, and it's gonna be guided." I'm like, "We'll tell you what chapters to read, and you can put your comments like in that chat so that if you move forward, like everyone can read as they're." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great," but then like it never happened. And I was like, "All right,
Oh.
I still don't know how to work this thing." But no,
How do you manage all the different apps and the groups? Because I see you on different Facebook groups too, but you're
gosh,
active like in everything.
yeah. Um, well, I'm active right now. My job, the busy season comes in waves. And the waves, like the most busy I am is during football season. So it's kind of one of those like during that season, I'm only like I answer phones and emails and chats and things. So I'm like a support person. I actually do have like a lot of things going on during the day during that season.
Right.
But outside of then, it's a lot of like I'm sitting at home bored or I'm like honestly, as far as like I don't post a lot when it comes to my TikTok. Like I'm scrolling and then I'll get on Instagram and scroll and like I have a couple different accounts. But so like trying to manage the different ones. TikTok I just end up doom scrolling. I never really post anything. Like every once in a while I'll make an edit and I can post it, but a lot of my stuff on Instagram is scheduled.
Okay.
So I have it set up as a business account and I schedule that and then all of the different book groups. Typically, the ones that I manage or I'm part of the admin team get the most attention, and then, when I go to my actual homepage, whatever pops up most frequently in my feed is where I get the most active. Like, obviously, on days that I know there are games going on, like, I'll jump in and leave a comment, if I can gift that week, or
Hmm.
I'll jump in and say something if I see it on the feed. There are a couple that I'm the most po participating in the Bookmark Journey Book Club, my group, Fiction and Friends, and then, there is a Texas Book Babes,
I'm not on that one.
Book Talk Texas Babes, or there's another one that's got a similar name, Fiction Addiction, and then Book Fairy, The Bookish Retreat. Like
Hmm.
those I know the people who run the teams, or I used to be, like, close with them, so I'll get in on their stuff, and they typically have similar stuff going on each week. The Bookmark Journey does, like, every Thursday, they have a game. The
Yeah.
Bookish Retreat, they do, like, every Wednesday, I think, or a Friday, and then they usually have something going on the weekends. So, it's kind of one of those, like, I have to bounce back and forth, but most of the time, I'll get in when you go on Facebook, you can when you go into, like, just your groups tab, you can there's a For You an option, and
Hmm.
when you hit the For You option, it just lets you scroll through, like, whatever's most active in the group at that point, and a lot of the time, I'll go through there, and I just leave, like, really quick comments. Like, if I'm
Okay.
part of the admin team, I'll schedule as well, because certain things have to go up. Um, Twitter is one of those once a week things, just because the community is so small on Twitter.
Yeah.
Um Book threads, I'm scrolling a lot, it's doom scrolling like TikTok. So I for my job, I get up around 5 AM, because I have to drive that hour out, and so what happens is, like, I get up and I typically play, like, Monopoly Go for the first 30 minutes, just kind of waking myself up, and then I'll do my business, I get ready, and when I get in the car, I call my husband, typically in the mornings on the way there, and then when I get to work, depending on what day of the week, the first hour or so is coffee, login, doom scroll. Like, it's that order because we're not super busy always right off the bat,
Hmm.
and then my lunch hour is typically, like, doom scrolling in that, so a lot of the time I find myself, like, at which is really bad, but when I'm at work, I end up doom scrolling or reading. It is what it is, in
Yeah,
the season that I can, and then, like, during that time, it's a lot of rotating. I mean, like, somebody's gonna ask, "How do you manage to read if you're always, like, scrolling and all"
it happens.
ADHD?
Yeah,
ADHD? Like, I can't focus on one thing more than maybe 30 minutes, and I'm like, "Alright, this is boring. What's next?" Like,
yeah,
it
that's exactly what I do with my different books. It'll
Yep,
be a thriller, and I'll get bored, and then I'll go to romance, and I'll get bored, and then I'm like, you know what? Let me do an audio.
I do the same
And
thing.
yeah,
Books too,
that
yeah.
yeah, that's why sometimes it takes me a little bit to get through the books, but it'll get done.
And I'm like, it is what it is." Mm.
Yeah. Did you
I'm
make a
so
lot of
glad
friends with book in the book community now, or were they already friends?
I told somebody this earlier in the week. I feel like it's easier for me to make friends through the Facebook groups than it is anything else.
Me too.
Um, Not that I haven't made connections on Bookstagram, and Threads because I have. Booktok not so much just because I feel like a lot of people are just posting to post so they can get their views. It really doesn't have anything to do with necessarily connections. Um, that's just the part of that I'm on. I've
Hmm.
gotta change my algorithm at some point. But, I I made some friends originally in Bookstagram. I got thrown into a group chat that started from an engagement group, and it was a bunch of admins and our friends and some authors we were familiar with, and a couple of them kinda disappeared. They had some personal stuff going on, and then I had to leave the chat because it was just going off too much for me. Like, I don't mind book groups, but in my busy season, if I don't mute the chat or if I'm not in the chat long enough, you would have got booted. So I just left anyways because it was like, if you're
Hmm.
not here to talk, then why are you in here? Um, but as far as like legitimate connections and friends, definitely through Facebook the most. And I've made quite a bit. I have a friend, there's a list. There's a list. My top few, you, Kelly, Angie, Tamia, which I actually met her through an author as well, Valina, and then Genesis, Natasha. Natasha's one of my favorite people on the planet.
I
She's
see.
so sweet.
I've seen her name. I haven't gotten to talk to her, but I recognize her name. I recognize a lot of different people. I'm like, okay, I need to go in and message them, see what they're doing, what they're reading.
Yes, yes, and I feel like, Facebook's one of the easiest to have conversation on. Like,
Yeah.
with Instagram and TikTok, the conversation ends up being like we're just sending reels back and forth, which is great. It is a form of communication, but, for the most part, I feel like we're asking questions on Facebook. Like, people are like, "What do you recommend for if I'm looking for romantasy or for romance or, anything like that?" And that's how I end up like, "Oh my gosh, I really loved this book. You should check this out." And then you start an actual conversation. Whereas, like, if you were to leave that comment on something else, they would have just, like, looked at the comment and then
Liked it.
moved
Yeah.
away. Yeah, liked the comment and then just moved away and be like, "Okay, whatever, I'll check it out." Like, I get
Yeah.
more conversationalist from
Yeah.
Facebook than I do anything else.
Oh yeah, definitely. More of the communication. I think it's easier too. A lot of more people are more active on Facebook, which I am too.
Mhm.
There's only some groups that I see more now, which is the bookmark journey and the retreat, and then the book club one. I just joined that one. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, we like that one is a whole thing. We wanted it to just be the book club, and then, we try like, when you're running a Facebook group, there are so many things going on. you have your admin chat, and then you're like, we're trying to schedule stuff to keep people busy during the day because some people get on at random times, and it's like you have
Hmm.
if you're less than like a certain number of people active, Facebook stops promoting the group for you. So,
Oh,
because the book club group was not regularly active with comments and stuff, because it was really just like we're using this as a place for people to come in and vote for the book they want for the next month,
yeah,
and then we put them in a group chat on the side. um, it stopped promoting it, and, like, we would post it in the Bookmark Journey main page, but again, like, we had s like, it was like it would get lost in the other
yeah,
things that we were doing, so it's one of those, like, you have to the algorithm.
yeah. That's what it was. Because that's why I wasn't seeing it. And then I was like, wait, there's a book club. Let me
Yes.
join.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. I have so much fun. Sometimes I like to just sit back and participate as a member, and then sometimes I actually like to do admin things. I think, I get more enjoyment out of it as participating as a member,
Hmm.
because admin, you have a lot of responsibilities, and it's not a paid job, so, like, bless anybody who does it because
Right.
it's a
Yes.
lot of work. Um, but yeah, participating as a member, you get, like, really relaxed.
All the benefits I
Yes.
can get on whenever I can. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
a member at a lot, and I can't see myself, being because I feel like you'll have to post certain things to get engagement, but
Mhm.
a
Yeah, and
member I
trying to
see
keep
hard.
it bookish with bookish engagement because people are like, "We don't always wanna see, like, all the other things." And I was like, "Well, all the other things that are conversational are kinda how we
That's how
keep the
you
group
get to know people,
active."
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you get to know, I think, you know, get to know somebody with the other conversations. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
for
I
sure.
I like them. Yeah.
Okay, so I had this conversation earlier with someone else, but I wanted to ask you because you kinda dabble like I do. So, like, if you're trying to, for example, rearrange your shelf and you've got a book that is kind of split between 2 different genres, like, it's very heavy in a romance, but it's also got a lot of, like, thriller vibes or a mystery, like, there's an underlying mystery going on. Where would you if you were to be separating by genre, where would you put the book?
I think I would put it depends on the cover. If it's a light cover, it would go to romance. And if it's like a darker cover, it would go to like thriller,
Thriller.
mystery.
Yeah.
It
So
depends
you're
on the color. Yeah.
the color of the cover. Okay. Yeah, I have my friend, she was like, "Well, it depends on, like, who the author is, because if the author is typically, like, a romance author and they're writing something like Verity," she was like, "I would put Verity with the rest of Colleen Hoover's stuff,
Yeah.
but then, like, it's really more of a thriller,
Uh-huh.
like, it has more of that as far as plotline goes."
But you don't want to separate the author.
Yeah, you don't wanna separate the author, and I was like, "That's a really good question," but for example, if it's the only one you have, then it's like, "Okay, well, what do we label it as?"
Yeah. See, I would go with me, I would put it in the cover. Because like I'm looking at the Things We Hide from the Light. Have you read that one
Mhm.
by Lucy Score? I
I
didn't really like the romance part of it, but I like the more action packed, the subplot.
Mhm.
But it would go towards romance, even though I like the thriller part of it better. The
Yeah.
thrill of it, yeah. Different ones.
So, I think that I would have to go with, like, whatever they typically write,
Yeah,
like, where it
that's a good
falls.
way to put it. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good way.
Well, I'm ever rearranging, but
I know.
Hmm.
I just
There it is.
recently redid mine, but don't look at the bottom because that's not done yet.
Well, the mine's not done yet either, and there will be more, but I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you
Me
so much for
too.
joining me. You'll have to come
Thank you.
back and we'll have to do like monthly wrap up or something.
Oh yes, that would be so fun.
All right.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yes. We'll talk later.
Oh, definitely.